Hey YouTube, I just wanted to discuss one of the top 16 rabbit lists from YCS Chicago with you guys. I didn't attend Chicago, but this guy posted his list on DBZ, and yeah, I think it should set an example for rabbit for the rest of the format after priority was removed. So yeah, obviously 3 rabbit, 6 vanilla, 3 tour guide Sangan, those are all mandatory. 3 Veiler. The only thing that set Veiler back before was the fact that it was so bad in the rabbit mirror, but now since it stops the main plays, like all you could do was a audit like on tour guide or if they tried to flip a snowman or something. But now that it stops rabbit too, it basically stops everything unless they draw those hands where they beat you down with vanillas. But yeah, another thing is Veiler combos really well with Guaiba, and since the meta is gonna be probably really Inzector filled and even rabbit filled, Guaiba's like a lot better because now he doesn't suck in the mirror either because you can Veiler. Like a lot of the times, since you run multiple Veilers, they'll have probably tour guides and rabbits sitting on the field, and your Guivas can pick them off. Although you should probably still side them out. But yeah, it's also obviously still really good against windups, and it's also pretty good against dragons because they play a lot of like weak things like Lila, and it forces them through Raiko and Card Trooper and that sort of thing. Snowman and Gores. I did play Snowman and Gores before the priority change, and I don't know how heavily influenced the meta will be by Rabbit. If they still are, I think those are decent cards, but I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't have played them going into this tournament, but it looks like it works out, so yeah. 3 Lance, 3 MST, those are mandatory. Lance combos with Glybe and protects Dolka in the Inzector mirror, or Inzector matchup, and MST is just MST, it lets you push your plays through. Um, Reborn, Dark Hole, Book, Avarice, Storm, Smashing, those are all standard except for Smashing. Smashing is good because sometimes against Inzectors they leave like a Dragonfly with the Centipede, and like, or, um, it's obviously just good in the mirror. It's a decent card. There's nothing wrong with playing it, although, as you can see, he's playing 42, and I'm not really too much of a fan of that number. 2 Fiendish, 2 Bottomless, 2 Torrential, 2 Solemn Warnings, and a Solemn. Um, the only thing, like, Fiendish, Solemn Warnings, and Solemn are obviously mandatory, and I think Bottomless was a good choice going into this tournament because it still hits half of Inzector's plays, and it's really good against basically every other matchup now. And as for Torrential, I'm personally not too much of a fan of the card in this deck. I think I'd rather play Forbidden Chalice. Um, it got better because it stops Rabbit, stops Tour Guide still, and it's good against Inzectors, and it like lets you push through a Leggy or a Dolka. But anyway, the side deck was 3 Macro, 2 Chain Disappearance, 2 Deep Prison, Smashing, Mind Control, 2 Maxis, 2 Fools, Virus, and Snowman Eater. Um, I think the macros, the deep prisons, uh, smashing, mind control, maxis, and the virus and the snowman are all good. But the choices that I'm not too much of a fan of, obviously, are the chain disappearances and the fools. Um, Chain disappearance really isn't that good in most matchups, and like the things you do side it in against, they can just have like certain cards and it'll just be dead, and it's like sort of situational. And I think the Fool was like a knee jerk reaction to people playing Submersible Courier Arrow Shark and not wanting to play Gallon Duo anymore. But what people had to realize for this event probably was with all the Dijins coming out, like the Arrow Shark was barely played at all in most deck lists, and like they only did it because they figured it would be better than Roach because no one summons Roach in this deck. But there's 2 good Dijins that I would play in Rabbit and that he played also, this guy. And yeah. As for Electric Virus, yeah, it conflicts with Macro when you side it against dragons, but the card is really powerful. It lets you kill them a lot. I don't know. Maybe that card would be worth siding another one of or something like that. But anyway, the extra deck was kind of standard, but 2 Lagia, 2 Dolka, 2 Levair, 2 Utopia Roach, Utopia Ray, Zenmain's Leviathan, Acid Golem, Tempo, and the Symphony Edition, I forgot his name. Um, Maestro? Yeah. So, I think Tempo and Maestro are the good Dijins to add into this deck. They help cover a few flaws. Like with Maestro, you can run over Light Pulsar if you have a Dolka on the field and negate it, and Tempo is obviously just overall good. lets you push through Utopia, lets you get rid of the Zen mains materials, lets you make Acid Golem useless, that sort of thing. Um, but like he isn't playing any of the like Armory Arm or Catastrophe, which I think are both pretty important, especially with Triple Veiler. Catastrophe lets you kill Shining in the hero matchup when otherwise it's really hard to get over. Although I guess Bottomless did help that a little bit. But yeah. And honestly, I don't see you ever summoning the second Utopia. And if you do, it will only be for a beat stick. So I do think Zenmeister might be a bit of a better idea. Because Inzektor still might side Gozen. But that's a bit iffy. Or even the Carrier Shark thing would be a good choice too. But yeah, that's about it. So I think Waibas are really good again. I'm not too much of a fan of Snowman and Gores right now, but only time will tell how good those are. Rabbit's obviously still a top competitor, seeing as it got the 2 final spots, so yeah.